Have you ever felt like that no matter what you do and how hard you push yourself, you will just never be able to achieve your goals? If yes, then you are not alone. Many others, including myself, have experienced these struggles. When I started out making music, I was just a kid, and I barely knew anything about music production. I was just having fun with all the exciting toys FL Studio had to offer. But as I got kinda older and older, I realized that how bad I am and how good the pros are. And I always used to compare myself to them, and I wondered if I would ever be able to achieve that level. But here I am 5 years later after starting my journey as a music producer. And I intend to share with you everything I have learned, experienced and struggled with in that time. I will be breaking down my journey into 5 different chapters, and each chapter signifies an important turning point in my career. With that said, let's get into the first chapter. The year is 2017. Fidget spinners were the biggest flags you could have back then as a kid. NCS and Trap Nation were at the peak of their popularity, and YouTube Rewind was actually fun to watch and not the cringiest thing ever. In those blissful times, I started my journey at only 13 years old. The thing that actually brought me into music production, believe it or not, was Geometry Dash. Because back then I used to be super into the game, so I made my own levels and everything, and one day I thought where the music actually came from. So I looked up how to make music for Geometry Dash on YouTube, and a tutorial popped up. In that tutorial the guy was using a software called FL Studio, and at that time I had no idea what that was, so I had to try it. I downloaded the software and I instantly fell in love with it. Only about 2 days later I bought the producer edition, which was like $200, so that was like a lot of money for me back then. But I still went through it. And only about a week later, my first masterpiece was created. And this is how that went.
3, 2, 1, go!
So this was like the first track I have ever made in my life, and I know it's pretty bad, but at least it's in key and it has a melody. So anyways, that kind of followed up with a 6-month period of me just making random music, exploring the software, and just really trying to create something that could be considered as music. So these are a few tracks I have made back then. This song is called Orange Juice, and it's my first attempt on making tropical house. And I mean, you can clearly tell that a 13-year-old would have made this by the name. But anyways, this is how that sounds. And this song is called Island, which was also a tropical house, and honestly I'm not even sure if this is in key, but I let you judge it. And finally, this song is called Lotus, which was my favorite track back then. It's also pretty unique and has some interesting ideas. Obviously it's not gonna be like some super masterpiece, but I was proud of it at the time. is how I started my journey, completely from zero with no experience at all. You get to hear some of my earliest tracks I have ever made, and while I know they were pretty bad, it only gets better from now on. If you're curious where this journey all goes, then subscribe because I promise you are in for a wild ride. And you won't want to miss the next episode where I really start getting into music production. So that was it for today, and I see you guys in the next episode. Cheers!